I'm Tom, this is Daily Friction, and today we'll talk about 3 essential mindsets that will level up your dating. As with many things, in my opinion, the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule as it's also called, applies here. In this case, just a few powerful realizations and mindsets can take you the majority of the way to more successful dating experiences. A few tweaks can make all the difference. So let's start with a big one. Want her, but don't need her. It's important to confidently show interest, but never, ever be needy. Neediness kills attraction like nothing else does. Plain and simple. It's one of the biggest factors that will shape your dating interactions. As Derek Sivers says in How to Live.
Unless you are drops of liquid, 1 + 1 never equals 1. You must both be free and able to live without each other. Be together by choice, not necessity or dependence. Love your partner, but don't need your partner. Need is insatiable. Need destroys love.
Mark Manson backs this up in Models, a great book that I mentioned before and probably will again. Here he explains,
a man who is highly invested and needy before sex indicates that he's unreliable, whereas a man who is non-needy around sex, but still demonstrates desire for the woman he's with, makes her feel secure in the fact that he's choosing her from a place of control and security, not to fill some hole of validation.
Non-neediness comes from that magical place of abundance. It shows that you have other things or dating options going on in life, which you should. You've probably heard this truth and basically golden rule of social interactions before, and I came across it multiple times as well. For example, in Birch's book, 30 Covert Emotional Manipulation Tactics.
The person who cares less has the power.
So the first time I heard this, I had to go back and listen to it again. It's something so obvious that you see not just in romantic relationships, but also in business negotiations and workplace dynamics, for example. It's one of those things that surround us, but we don't see it that clearly until it's packed in some simple words. Here's how Mark defines neediness in his book.
Here's what I mean by neediness. Being more invested in other people's perceptions of you than your perception of yourself. Neediness plays out by people chronically investing themselves and their identities to receive validation from others around them. Women are generally only attracted to men who are less invested in them than they are in themselves. By investment, I mean the degree in which you sacrifice, alter your own thoughts, feelings, motivations for someone else. By less, I mean that as a man, you should only be willing to sacrifice your thoughts, feelings, motivations for a woman less than she is willing to do the same for you.
He also adds that it's about being less needy, since being not needy at all is pretty much impossible to achieve when it comes to dating. Well, unless you're watching this from a monastery.
I should add that these aren't all or nothing propositions either. Look, we all want people to like us, and we all like to impress others. We all need some validation sometime. We all do these things to certain degrees. It's impossible to be perfectly non-needy all the time, but neediness is relative. That's why I say it's about being less invested than women instead of not invested in women. It's an important difference. It's impossible to be not invested, but it is always possible to be less invested than she is. That's all it takes. She can be the most invested person on the planet in what others think of her, and if you're the second most invested person on the planet, she'll be attracted to you, but not vice versa.
Women don't want to be the center of your universe. They might strive for it, but once they reach this point, they will lose interest. If they fully domesticate the man, he simply becomes less attractive to her. So you should always be more invested in yourself, your goals and your values than you are in her. Another great quote I heard that fits very well here is,
"The moment you choose a woman over your goals is the moment you lose both."
It makes sense when you think about it, because if you don't have strong principles in place that guide your life and let people, including her, walk all over you because you are most invested in her for all of human history, you could simply not be trusted. It's not safe to rely on dependent pushovers when it comes to survival. So I think the point is clear. Let's go to the next one. Let's see if you like her. You are the prize. Here's a mindset that also changes a lot. Stop focusing on whether she likes you. Instead, ask yourself if you like her. This flips the script and puts you in a position of confidence and control. I mentioned this mindset before, and it can change the whole dynamic. That is the boring norm for women. Boy wants to get girl, tries to impress her, tries to say the right things, bends over backward, is always available, and so on. Again, this new mindset implies that you have options, and powerful concepts like pre-selection and social proof come into play. It makes you more interesting since the mindset shows that you must have been successful when it came to dating in the past. Even if that's not the case, if you sell yourself this way, it implies it to the other person and gets subconsciously recognized. Again, this is not only a concept that works for you when it comes to dating, but in social interactions in general. As Oren Klaff explains in Pitch Anything.
If you are trying to win your target's respect, attention, and money, he becomes the prize. When your target is trying to win your attention and respect, you are the prize. This, of course, is what you want. Prizing is the sum of the actions you take to get to your target to understand that he is a commodity and you are the prize. Successful prizing results in your target chasing you, asking to be involved in your deal.
When you sell yourself as the prize, of course in a balanced and subtle way, otherwise you will just seem like an idiot, but it shows her that her looks alone aren't enough to win you over or impress you, which is what probably has happened to her before 5,396 times. You have high standards and you're not easily swayed. There are many pretty girls out there and you know that, but you're looking for more than just one of those pretty faces. And if that's not her, it's fine. You'll keep looking. This signals that you're a man of value with many options, someone worth investing in. Lastly, let's talk about the idea of the one. Spoiler alert, there isn't one. As implied in the point before, it shouldn't only be something you convey between the lines, but your actual belief. Rollo Tomassi sums it up pretty nicely in The Rational Male.
There is no one. This is the soulmate myth. There are some good ones and some bad ones, but there is no one. Anyone telling you anything else is selling you something. There are lots of special someones out there for you. Just ask the divorced, widowed person who's remarried after their soulmate has died or moved on with another person they insist is their real soulmate.
This soulmate idea is a sellable Disney fantasy that speaks to us, but which often does more harm than good. It creates unnecessary pressure and unrealistic expectations. The stories we put in our heads and sign up for are extremely powerful and dictate many things in our lives, true or not. So if you ask me and many others, the good news is you don't need the one. There are plenty of good ones out there. In the myth of monogamy, the authors explain another reason why this idea is pretty outlandish, and they put things into perspective.
There are 6 billion people on our planet, of whom we meet probably fewer than several thousand in a lifetime. This works out to about 1 in a million. Accordingly, for every person we meet, there are about 999,999 we never do. And of those few we actually do meet, only a small proportion of those encounters occur for us at ages and in circumstances in which love and/or marriage, never mind sex, are even feasible. In short, the chances are pretty slim that we will ever meet our perfect other half, even if he or she exists.
No one is perfect, and a woman can surprise and excite you in ways you don't even think of yet. Everyone is unique, and many people can share a meaningful connection with you. Don't get caught up in the idea that there's only one person out there for you. Because bluntly put, that's just brainfuckery. To wrap things up, here's a final thought that stood the test of time and is also mentioned by Rollo Tomassi.
Women should only ever be a complement to a man's life, never the focus of it.
So keep this in mind as you navigate dating. Stay focused on your life, your own goals, and let relationships enhance your life, not define it. Want her, but don't need her. Remember that you're the prize, and most importantly, there's no the one. If you level up yourself with these mindsets and grow with daily friction every day, more options will come automatically. For more specific tips when you have a date coming up, check out this video here where I spoke more about one of those mindsets and give you 2 other tips that helped me. So what do you think about this topic? Do you have anything more to add? What did I miss? Share it with the community in the comments below. And if you found it useful, please like this episode and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you in the next one, brother.